Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. In today's video, we're pleased to welcome the CEO of Manning Ventures, Alex Klenman, to the channel to walk us through this company, their business model, and outlook for the next few quarters. There's a lot to go through in today's presentation, but before we do, you guys, please take a second, smash the like button. It's a big help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to join. And let us know in the comments section below if you're currently holding shares of Manning Ventures, your thoughts on this sector overall, and how you think this company is compared to their peers or competitors in this space. Now with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, we've got the CEO of Manning Ventures, Alex Klenman, on the channel for his inaugural visit. There's a lot going on at this organization, a lot to talk about in today's presentation. But before we do, Alex, thanks so much for making the time. Really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, Bryce, thanks for having us and having Manning on. I'm excited to expose the company. I think there are certain periods in this cyclical realm of the markets where introductions to new companies for people are at the most peak opportune time, and that's where I think we're at right now. So there we go.
Perfect. Well, you're more than welcome back anytime, Alex. And because it is your first time on the channel, before we get into the company specifics, can you give us just a quick background on yourself and how you actually ended up at Manning Ventures?
Yeah, I'm a long-time markets guy. You can see a little gray, so I've been around. Been involved with gold, copper, uranium, mostly over the past 20, 25 years. But honestly, with Manning, I got involved in 2018. We built a company. We've moved several spaces. At the outset, what we wanted to do was create a small cap vehicle that had exposure across multiple sectors. And I know some people will say, well, that's kind of wishy-washy. You should focus in one area. Well, we think, and there are other people like us who think that if you're exposed solely in one area, then you might go through long dead periods where a particular commodity or material is just not catching any breeze. So what we wanted to do to mitigate that was kind of start a company that has access to multiple types of materials that provide a diverse sort of portfolio look. So we've got lithium assets, we've got iron ore assets, we've got now copper assets, and that's kind of we think at the end of the day this is going to really kind of provide value. We need a good bull market. I think it's coming, and when it does, I think that companies like Manning are going to pick up, and I'm happy to get into the details.
Sure. Yeah, it's nice to hear that diversified portfolio, especially all the EV or charging related materials or minerals that you guys focus on. So let's maybe shift gears, talk about Manning Ventures next. Can you give us a profile of the company, your assets, kind of the business model here?
Yeah, as mentioned, we're exposed across multiple sectors. We've got some great iron ore assets in Quebec. They're mostly advanced projects. Their size there with those claims and what we're doing. We haven't done much in the last year or so. Iron ore's cooled off, but we do hold those, so they're in our back pocket. We also have some lithium projects. Again, these are more early stage, but we like them. One of the things about small cap explorers that's exciting is what happens on discovery. And yeah, the odds are sort of stacked against you, but they really do when you do make discovery, especially in virgin ground, your market cap explodes. So we like that. That's where we're kind of at with lithium. But recently we moved into copper, and you mentioned EV. EV is just part of it. We've got AI eating up massive amounts of power, and all of the infrastructure for the delivery of that power involves copper. So we know the demand for copper and get multiple hits. Where this is going in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or even multiple decades, there's just not going to be a decrease in the need for copper. So we've got to bring more copper assets online. There's got to be more material found, and I think the explorers have a lot of room to grow because of that demand.
Sure. Now, you mentioned some of the use cases for copper. Why are you guys so excited about this one specifically, and how do you think this sets the company up down the road?
Right. Well, right now we have a project in Nevada called Copper Hill. It has historic production. It's got higher grade material in the history of the project, and it's really in a very prolific area where there's a lot of upside, a lot of growth opportunity for projects like this. So where we're going with it is I mean, specifically speaking to Copper Hill, we've done a lot of preliminary work. We've done gravity, we've done soil sample, soil grading over large sections of the project ground, and it's all very positive. It's indicating that we have the right environment for large copper deposits. Now we're going to get there. We're going to find out. What we'd like to do here now is really get into drilling. So we've got, I think, enough data to begin the drill targeting process. We have plenty of cash. Actually, we're trading at about a 1.3, 1.4 Canadian market cap right now. We've got about that much money in the bank. So that's the opportunity that your listeners and your viewers are kind of stumbling into here. When the market picks up, and it will, we know that as sure as the sun comes up, markets cycle. So we're in a down right now. These summer, and summer's always been an off time. But this is when you really have to identify where you're going to go and what money. And so there's lots of companies like Manning where you just go, wait a minute, you're trading at a 1.3, 1.4 million market cap. You've got about $1.3 million, $1.2 million in the bank, and you're active on your project, and your project is showing very positive indicators. So that's a good combination to have. And that's where we're headed. We'd like to get into drilling later, maybe Q3, Q4 this year. We can drill year round in Nevada. So that's the next step is to advance the project to the drill stage and see if we can replicate some of the historical numbers that are quite robust on the project ground.
Gotcha. Yeah, you talk about these market cycles. That's really where the opportunity is found with a lot of these junior exploration companies, and it's good to identify kind of those ups and downs. Now, you talk about the drilling program kicking off here. I was going to ask about upcoming catalysts. Obviously, this is a huge one for the company. What else should we have on our radar in terms of Manning Ventures?
Well, look, as a junior explorer, got to always keep your eye open and your ear to the ground in terms of new projects, new opportunities. As markets cycle, when you have a down market, sometimes it's not only a buying opportunity for investors looking for stocks that are down and ripe for a comeback, but also to find undervalued properties, projects that may, in a bull market, obviously carry much more value than they do today. Now, the copper demand is making, it's not making the opportunity for us to find great projects, more advanced projects, let's say, cheaply. They're not out there. People know the ask is always higher. But in an environment where there's not a lot of capital floating around, sometimes those initial asks can be modified, can be more buyer friendly. So we're constantly looking to add additional projects. When we add something, I don't know. We're looking at a couple of really nice advanced projects. We can negotiate something reasonable. Maybe we'll make an announcement. But we're always, it's not like we're doing that now and just now. We're always doing 12 months a year, 365 days a year. We are doing that. So, but we really like Copper Hill. We think Copper Hill is going to end well for us. We're working with a prospector geologist in Nevada who has great history in copper. He's one of the most articulate guys out there in the space, and knows it well. He's actually working multiple projects, more advanced projects, and he really likes what we're seeing and what we're doing here at Copper Hill. So, other catalysts might be just additional ground, like we just announced. Actually, we increased the size of the project ground recently. We grabbed some more ground. We liked what we saw in the gravity and the soil surveys, and kind of thought better grab that ground now. So we've done that. That's always good. That's an indicator that we're happy with what we're seeing, and there might be a logical reason to add that space. So those are the types of catalysts. But I think also from a macro picture, as we come out of the summer, people kind of pull back. They want to go to the lake. They want to go, spend time outdoors, and not a lot of screen time in the summer, and kind of take time off. That's kind of where we're at right now. Remember, once the weather starts to change, get around Labor Day, most people come roaring back. And listen, there is an inherent behavior among investors. We've got to put our money back. They have pulled some cash off the table this summer. Now you've got to put that money back to work. And if interest rates beginning to come down, the junior market will start to pick up because maybe the returns are sitting there. You're not going to get 5% or 8% on a GIC. You're going to have to start to look at other things. And I think, once interest rates are really coming down, we're going to see a flood of capital back into the markets. And we'll wake up again to volume. We'll wake up to market caps getting re-rating. And boy, do I think Manning is due for a re-rating. We've only got 34 million shares out, trading near our cash value, and we're in the right space in terms of copper.
Yeah, really exciting. Now, you take the old adage, sell in May and go away. I guess that's kind of what you're witnessing here over the summer months. Now, I'm glad you brought up the macro lens here, because we've covered a lot of these lithium, EV, critical battery metals on the channel. I understand that's only part of your portfolio, but copper is also extremely important, as you mentioned, for AI, HPC, high performance computing. And there's really been a big push from the Biden administration, based on a lot of the geopolitical tension around the world, to onshore a lot of the production. And I've noticed all of the properties you mentioned are either Canada or US here in North America, which is obviously a very safe, stable jurisdiction. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of what you're seeing at the macro level and that type of side of things?
Well, you nailed it on the head. There's got to be more copper supply secured from friendly jurisdictions, from stable jurisdictions. So there's copper, located globally. What you don't find globally is safe places to operate. And, like obviously where we're at in terms of jurisdiction, US and Canada, obviously great places to work. Canada, I think, is number one for a lot of reasons. Obviously, few opportunities up there we know we have a mining friendly environment. The US is the same way, really honestly, but we do as Canadians have a disadvantage working in the US, and that's just the dollar value. We lose 30% moving across the border. However, upon the delivery or the confirmation of an asset into a deposit, for example, capital will flow. And there's plenty of examples we can cite about companies in our space who have raised sufficient capital based on U.S. assets. So we know that can happen, and that's kind of where we're hoping to head. Establish copper, and that we're moving towards deposit at Copper Hill, and perhaps development one would be much easier to obtain. So you don't necessarily see that 30% hit as and we just know, you go where the flies gather, and there's a lot of copper in southern Nevada, and those are basically world-renowned gold trends, but the copper, particularly where we're at, is well known. It's very prolific region, probably a lot more discovery waiting to happen.
Great. And with the Copper Hill project specifically, would the goal there be to develop it and sell that off or spin that out? Are you looking to bring it right through to production? What's kind of the outcome there?
Yeah, no, it's funny, and honestly, I think most explorers, if they are a small cap exploration company, if they start talking about, we want to become a producer, a lot of them are being dishonest, and I don't say that in nefarious way. I just mean that the old adage is always present that you want to take it to production, but that's a whole different beast, and you would need a different management team to get to production. That's a whole different world. As explorers, our job is mainly to find something, delineate something of size and value, and then find a partner, either through a JV or through selling the asset. And that's kind of what we'd like to do. Yeah. Do we want to be a producer? I don't know. Sure. I'm not saying Manning wouldn't be a producer, but there might be a lot of changes before that happens. And obviously, we have to make discovery of a significant level and pursue it. The funny thing about deposits or discovery is everybody gets excited about that first big drill hole. The honeymoon's over pretty fast when you realize that you have to replicate that drill hole multiple times, and that's where the hard part comes in. But again, when you have historic production like pounds, 3.5 to 11% copper, those are good numbers. And that was a long time ago, and the ground really hasn't been touched since then in any significant way. So we like that formula, and we think the outcome of finding these types of projects can be very positive. So that's kind of where it's at with Copper Hill, where we're going with it. But in terms of macro, look, we know the demand isn't going to peel off. I mentioned AI and everything, high performance computing and all these other things. Copper is a massive. Everything you look around you, everything around you in your walls, probably on your desk, that's copper. When you leave your house, get into a vehicle, or you're going anywhere and doing anything where there's power involved, there's copper. And this isn't changing. This is actually getting to a more critical material than people. So I think we're really headed in a whole new world, brave new world for copper and related materials.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Right place at the right time is what comes to mind. And I appreciate the transparency with the production. I've looked at mining companies' exploration a lot, and you're right, there are certain inflection points where value is added, and the explorers really do have a unique value proposition there. So it's nice to hear that you're sticking to what you guys know and what you're good at. Now, I know we've covered a lot today, Alex, everything from the upcoming drill program and discussion about some of these assets, the value of copper in the world right now. Is there anything else that we're missing from this story that you'd like to throw in?
Well, we have a relatively tight capital structure. I mean, we only have 34 million shares out, so that it is pretty tight. We'd like to see us in a position. Listen, everyone says tight is good. Tight is not necessarily good. If you're looking to get institutional support, for example, you've got to have distribution of shares. You've got to have liquidity. To do massive drill programs, you're going to need institutions. And so we'd like to get there. Right now, we're still in that much earlier stage, only 34 million out. We've got over $1 million in cash in the bank. So, as mentioned, we're trading near the cash value. Now, that's not wholly unique in July in a bad market. You're going to find that a lot. So that isn't unique to us. But then you have to look at where we're going and what we're doing. We don't have massive burn. We're not spending money through our teeth here, just dropping dollars as we walk down the street. That's not happening. We're very careful. We've been quietly getting the work done at Copper Hill, getting it done in a very budget-friendly way. So getting the gravity streaming done, getting the massive soil grids gets us critical information, critical data that's going to allow us to hone in on what our drill targets. And that's very important work going on behind the scenes. Again, it's different if it's pure greenfield. We still have a lot of work to do if it's pure greenfield. But remember, there was historic production here. There has been drill holes, has been things done. So again, we're kind of working with a really good, robust data set in the process. We're just adding layers by doing the gravity. And I think we're getting really close. So we've got a real good project at Copper Hill. We're open to bigger projects. And I think, that proposition, where you're looking around in July, what do you see? Well, here's literally a 4-cent stock. It's shocking that it's 4 cents, but here we are. And if you're able to make a bet and buy cheap, and you see where we're going, the issue is where we're going to be in September, October, November. We're going to be up. Are we going to be in a better market? Or is that going to be Q1, Q2, 2025? Listen, the cycle will go back. It'll climb back up. It always does. So make your bets when everybody else is looking the other way. And the old Warren Buffett adage, right? When there's blood in the streets, that's the best time to buy. And I'm guilty. I always think now is the best time. I'm going to deploy capital. I just never do it the right way, right? And that's human nature. Gotta make the leap. I've gotten better as I've gotten older at taking those opportunities when they're obviously right in front of me. But patience, which is not easy to find in markets these days, is really required. Make your bets, sit with them, and let the companies.
Yep, exactly right. Be greedy when others are fearful. Patience is something I'm working on as well. I've got two little kids now, Alex, so I'm learning patience very
Yeah.
quickly here. But
Yeah.
you know what? This was an awesome interview. Very exciting company, exciting project, exciting sector, and as you alluded to, very opportune time to take a look at Manning Ventures if you haven't already and you're looking for some exposure to the exploration side of things here in North America. Alex, really appreciate the time today. Very insightful. I'll kick it back to you for any closing thoughts, but I really appreciate the time today.
Well, I'd like to thank you first and foremost, but we probably could have gotten into more detail on the project, but that's on our website. You can do that. A lot of my experience now is a lot of retail investors aren't necessarily super interested in the infinite details. But all of that's on our website. You can see what we're doing and how we're doing it. Check out our news releases. But from the macro picture, we did cover a lot. I think that's a very important thing. It's a very important part of the ingredients of a good play. You've got to have macro. You've got to have some wind behind you. I think we're getting that. We're going to see that. Is the material in demand, is the underlying material in demand going to be something that will create value over time? Yes, that box is checked. You have a relatively tight capital structure? Yes, box check. Do we have cash in the bank? Yes, box check. Do we have experienced geologists leading the technical side of things? Yes, box check. All of the things you need are there, including a really great little project that we think is going to bear some fruits. All the things you need are there. Urge people to take a peek at our website and always reach out to us at management very quickly.
Yeah, it's a great point. I'll leave the website linked in the video description below. You guys go and take a look. If you have any additional questions for Alex or the team, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Next time we have the group on here, we can go through those questions. If you're still watching at this point, hopefully you found some value. So make sure you hit the like button. It helps get the video to other people like you who may find value. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to join. We'd love to have you as part of the community. Alex, great session today. Very insightful, and we look forward to having you back soon.
Awesome, Bryce. Thanks so much.